No. 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 No way. No way. No way. No way. No. No. Oh my god. No. I am not in the right state of mind to do that. No. Oh god. I have to do it. I have to tell the story. I have to do it. I have to tell it. I can't believe it's a 1% chance. I've spun this wheel off stream for fun and it's never landed on that. I've spun it off stream and it's never landed on that. Oh my god, I gotta call Austin. I gotta call Austin right now. No way. Okay. So, one night, about 3 weeks ago, I went to a party. Okay? I was at this party, and I was hanging out with a bunch of people. Alright? So, this is all a true story. I was hanging out with a bunch of people. We were at a party. We were celebrating. Alright? So, we were celebrating at this party, and we were all hanging out. And I'm just chilling, not really doing much, right? I'm just hanging out. I'm with the boys. We're all drinking. It's a good time, etc., etc. So, while I'm drinking and hanging out, you know, I'm single, right? I'm single. I can do what I want. I'm good. And I see this girl, and I watch that scene. She was the dancing queen. So, I'm single, and I'm at this party, and I roll up. And I'm like, all right, let's see how this goes. So, I walk up to this girl, and I'm like, how you doing? And she has no idea who I am. Not a fucking clue in the world. So, pretty much I got rejected, right? Because clearly I can't.
Crush.
Ego crush. Clearly I can't get laid. And this girl was hot. Like, chat, she was good looking and she was bad. And I'm going to let you know that some of my friends tried to get with this girl and they failed. So, this girl starts talking to me and starts, like, drinking with me and stuff like that. But what happened was, she is like, oh, it was like the end of the party. She's like, okay, let me get your Instagram. So, I'm like, you know, I don't really do Instagram. How about Twitter? And she's like, okay, I'm down for that. So she gets my Twitter. And then that's when she realizes I have clout. So she's like, oh, damn, who the fuck is this shit? I'm like, yeah, I'm verified. What up? So, this girl and I follow each other back on Twitter. Everything's going great. She's not a clout chaser. And I'm like, damn, this girl's pretty cool. Right? I'm like, I could use that in my life. You know what I mean? I asked her if she needs help building a computer. She told me no. And she just wanted to hang out. So, I asked her what she does and what her living is. And she's like, oh, I do strip stuff a lot. I'm pretty much a stripper. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. And she's like, I do stripping by night, but by day, I work in the city. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So she's a very normal girl. But she's hot. I'm like, this girl was good. So, everyone saw me get her Twitter, and they're like, good job, Miz. Nice job. They're proud of me. Because they're like, this girl's fucking good looking yourself. And I start talking to her. We start drinking a little bit. And then she's like, how about you message me tomorrow? And I'm like, pog fucking you. Let's do it. So I message her. And I say, hey. I say hi with a bunch of eyes. I said, what are you doing tonight? And she said, nothing really. I'm just hanging out. And she's like, you want to do something? And I'm like, you know what? Sure, fuck it. What are you doing in, like, an hour? And she's like, hanging with you. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is sick. So, I'm like, all right, I don't really have anything to do, though, because nothing's open because of COVID, right? So she's like, why don't we just go back to your place and hang out? And I'm like, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. So, I drive my Audi R8 to her place.
Rip
the R8. I drive all the way to her place. I pick her up. She's looking fucking good. I'm like, hey, hello, motherfucker. Hey, how you doing? And we
Weezy F baby come to take a shit and urine on the toilet bowl, bitches. Never mind.
Okay, Awesome was about to get canceled. So, I pick her up. I'm like, damn, you looking fucking good. We drive to a gas station where we get some orange juice. And she's like, talking shit about the orange juice I got. I'm like, fuck you. This is the best orange juice. And she's like, I hate you. And I'm like, all right, we're in. So, we're doing some flirting on the way back to my house at this point, right? And she comes in my house. And we just, like, kind of go downstairs. And I think it was Russell who noticed. And he's like, damn, Miz, nice. He's like, holy shit. When do you ever bring girls back? I'm like, I mean, only for the thumbnail. I know, this is crazy stuff. So, a girl off stream, question mark, that's a reality for me. And we go in my room. So, we're hanging out, and
in your room, not even to the this okay.
This room.
Despite on or off stream, this is still the room that you take people to on or off stream.
Yes.
Okay.
So I bring her in this room, and I pull the couch out, and I'm like, "What do you want to watch?" And she's like, "Why don't we watch Black Mirror?" And I'm like, "All right, I'm fucking down." So we just start watching Black Mirror and chilling. Okay. And it really was nothing at first, right? She takes her shoes off. I take my shoes off. And we start hanging out. And while we're hanging out, one thing led to another while we're there. And we start making out, right? So me and her start making out, and it was probably for a solid hour, maybe an hour and a half. We start making out. It's
an egregious amount of time to make out, by the way.
And keep in mind,
that's a lot of making out.
It is. And keep in mind, chat, that while I'm doing this, right? While I'm doing this and we're making out, I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. I had a boner. Like, the whole time. I was like, holy fuck, there's a girl. What the hell is this thing? It's been a long time. Pretty fucking poggers. So, I had a boner, right? And I'm like, this thing works. It's a Christmas miracle. We start making out and stuff. And while we're making out, she starts to go for it, right? And I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do that, because I'm gonna be honest with you, chat, I'm very I don't do stuff first. So,
well, you did it with me. Anyway.
Oh, you did it with me. So do re mi fa sol la ti do. So we're chilling. She starts going for the shtick shift, you know what I mean? And I start to go to a land down under as well, right? And I start touching and going crazy, and she's doing the same damn thing. And then we kind of just stop, and she like gets off me and like gets and looks away.
Oh no.
And I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, I'm a bad person. I'm like, no, you're just a hot girl. What's wrong with that? She's like, I'm a bad person. I had no idea what this meant, so I'm freaking out. I'm like, what do you mean you're a bad person? What did you do? What is going on?
Yeah, at this point in the story, I was like, oh my God, is she did she kill somebody? Is she on her way to prison? You know, like I was at this point in the story, I was like, oh my God, is she a convict? Is she like on the run or something? This is what I was thinking at this point.
And I'm like, look, if you want to go for it, go for it. I'm totally fine with it. I'm like, I think you're hot. I'm totally okay with it. I trust you. And like, we were making out for like an hour and a half. And she's like, do you think you're a good person? And, you know, I lied. I said yes. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm a good person. I don't think I'm a bad person at all. And she said, what if I told you I've been lying to you this whole time? I said, what do you mean? She said, Matt, I have a penis.
Which is great, by the way.
I'm like, there's no way. I get up and I'm sitting there for 15 minutes. I'm like, you're lying to me. There's no way. I don't believe it. I'm like, there's no way. And you're lying to me. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you're lying. I'm like, you're saying something. You're lying to me. She's like, Matt, did you touch down there? And I said, yes. And she's like, what did you think that circle thing was that you touched? I'm like, I thought it was your clit. She's like, Matt, you jerked me off.
Oh my God.
I said, I don't believe you. I said, I don't believe you're telling me the story. I do not believe this is reality. And she's like, go ahead and touch yourself. So I did. And she got a boner. And I was like, oh my fucking God, this is real.
And
I couldn't believe it.
But then never mind. Well,
so then she asked me, and she says, she feels horrible. Because she's like, I should have told you at first. I shouldn't lie to you like this. You should have known, and I feel like a horrible human being. She's like, I've never done this before. I didn't tell somebody. I feel like shit. And I told her. I said, I didn't mind. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I really didn't care. Like, I was like, you know what? It was an experience that I tried it, and I did it. And I legitimately did jerk off a girl. I'm like, and you know what? It happened. It is what it is. I didn't really care. And I'm like, I still think you're hot. I told her that. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I still think you're hot. And she's like, fuck. And I kind of like started to like realize what's going on, because the second she stood up, she was taller than me. So she's like, what do you want to do from here? She was like, we just made out for an hour and a half. You made out with me.